Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for March 30th. We are looking at the U.S. Japanese yen pair. This particular pair did close down today after having a very long tail and then retracing prior to the close, but it still closed down. Overall, we believe this pair is moving sideways and the bias is sideways currently as well. We are expecting this pair to potentially move as high as 99.00, possibly as low as 95.03. Now, looking at resistance, where should resistance hit this pair? We're looking around 97.88 and support to come in around 96.90 in this particular pair. Now, switching to the Euro USD pair, this pair gapped down fairly significantly on the open, did close down for the session. We are expecting it to potentially move as high as 134.15, possibly as low as 129.99. Look for some resistance around 132.96 and look for support around 131.11. This pair we believe is currently moving sideways and has a slight bias to the downside. Looking at the pound USD, this particular pair closed up after moving much lower today, but did close up nonetheless. We do believe this particular pair is moving sideways, biased to sideways currently. We are expecting it to move potentially as high as 144.42 and possibly as low as 139.37. Look for some resistance around 143.00 and look for some support around 141.56 in this particular pair. Now, switching to the US Swiss, this pair gapped up on the open, closed up for the session. The bias is moving sideways, or it's moving sideways currently. The bias is slightly up to sideways. Now, we are expecting this pair to potentially move as high as 116.43 and looking to the downside around 113.37. Look for some resistance around 115.32 and look for some support around 113.78 in this pair. Now, what am I looking at going into this next session? Looking at the Euro Swiss, this particular pair has formed a swing trade during this last session, at the close of this last session, to the downside. We're definitely looking to take a short. We have this huge window of opportunity if you draw a straight line from there to your trend, the break of the trend line, and then move your chart over. We have a pretty good window there that of space that we could have before this pair runs into some previous support or previous resistance that is now support. So basically looking to short at the 150.89 area, looking to exit this particular trade at 149.89, and that's roughly 98 pips worth of profit, so look for that to the downside. Now, one other one that you may want to take a look at, I've just took a look at it briefly at the pound Swiss. This pair formed an inside bar today, and is what's interesting about that is to the upside, you definitely have some room for it to hit some previous resistance at this point. That could be resistance again, or you have previous support here that could be resistance. So there could be some movement between these two areas that it would be good to trade. I haven't mapped out exactly your entries and exits, but it's definitely one to take a look at. Now, moving ahead into tomorrow, we have the Swiss releasing their UBS consumer indicator for February. There's at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. No consensus currently. The previous was 0.985. The U.S. has their consumer confidence report being released for March. That's going to be released at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Consensus is that it has increased from 25.0 to 28.0, which would be good news for the U.S. dollar. Now, the Australian dollar has their retail sales being released for February at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. Consensus is that it has dropped from 0.2% to negative 0.5%, which would be, of course, bad news for the Australian dollar. Well, that about does it for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.